Excellent. Okay. Well, welcome to the Rotary Monthly Meeting of E-Club. We are Southeast US and Caribbean. And we have some pretty cool updates from Rotary International and their newsletter. And then, of course, our district and some of the things that are going on with Rotary right where you're at. And it doesn't matter where you're at, there's going to be a festival. And that festival, because October is famous for festivals, there's probably going to be a Rotarian at those festivals. So I encourage each one of you to just kind of look around your community just while you're going shopping and doing your daily routine and look for those Rotary signs because they're going to be up this time of the year. Is really big for a way to contact and reach out and just say hello to fellow Rotarians and support them and let them know because they love it when another club recognizes them. So we can do that on a global scale. So I believe we have a guest speaker here, Miss Anna Marie, and she's going to do a great presentation. We're going to record it and then we're going to review it and make sure that everything was done right. Just kidding, Anna.
If not, I do it again, huh? Take two.
All right. Well, Alicia, did you want to introduce more on Anna's bio? Because I did think it deserves attention.
Yes. And pardon me for actually reading this, but it's short and sweet. So in 2002, our speaker, Anna Maria Fiallos, I hope I pronounced that right, joined Pinellas County Consumer Protection as a consumer fraud investigator. She worked in the department's criminal section investigating cases involving unlicensed contracting, theft, and home solicitation. She is certified as a mediator through the Supreme Court of Florida. Currently, she is with the department's dispute resolution section, where she assists parties in resolving civil complaints through mediation. Anna Marie is also the department's outreach coordinator. As outreach coordinator, she provides consumer education to Pinellas County residents through presentations, community events, and distribution of literature. Anna Marie is a member of the NACPI, North American Consumer Protection Investigators, and the Florida Council on Aging. As a member of these organizations, she receives continuing education in her field, allowing her to provide the best service to the residents of Pinellas County. This year, Anna Marie will celebrate 23 years of service with the county. Anna Marie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Happy birthday, Dad. I'm going to talk to you tonight about scams and fraud, and each and every one of us is targeted every single day by scammers. And I think if we just understand their tactics a little better and some of the red flags that are presented during scams, it could help us reduce our chances of falling victim. Now, technology is not my strong suit, as Alicia was helpful earlier to help me with it. Let's see if I can get it now. Is everybody seeing that? We good? Everybody see it?
Yes, I see it.
Thank you. So every year, the Federal Trade Commission gathers reports that they receive, and these reports can be on anything from landlord-tenant to auto repair, you name it. We're always a year behind. Like right now, they're collecting the statistics for 2025, so they should be out early 2026. So these are the stats for 2024, and you can see that year they collected 6.5 million reports. The top three areas were credit bureaus, identity theft, and imposter scams. Out of the 6.5 million, 2.6 million were determined to be fraud-related reports, with 38% of those reports having reported a loss, totaling 12.5 billion in total fraud losses. So oftentimes people say, well, if these scammers just put their smarts to a legitimate job, they could do so well. But obviously they wouldn't be making $12.5 billion. This is a huge industry. We're seeing losses all the time, all different age ranges, and I'll show you that in just a minute. With the medium loss typically being somewhere around $500. Younger people reported losing money to fraud more often than older people. I didn't find this unusual since younger people tend to be on their computers and their phones. So for them to report something sometimes is more easier than an older adult. 44% of age 20 to 29 reported falling victim to fraud or scam, as opposed to 70 to 79 age range. It was almost half of that. But people older, 70 and older, reported having a larger medium or larger loss, median loss, excuse me. And you could see with the categories here, 20 to 29, they reported a loss, median loss of $417 versus 70 to 79, it was 1,000. As they got older, higher.
Anna
This is-
Marie,
Yes.
can you scroll down on the slides? I think we're stuck on the first one still.
Right. Yeah, I meant to say that.
Let me try again.
I
Apologize.
think you did a slideshow, but then your presentation is on another screen and you sharing the your primary slides. If you bring back the screen you had, I can I see the button that I can show you what to click.
Bear with me. Apologize for that. Whoops.
No, now you don't want to share your email.
No, bear with me 1 second.
Okay. You have your browser app now with YouTube. Okay.
Technology, it's wonderful. How are we looking now?
Yeah, so you have the your main screen with a slide, the startup page. So you see there's a slideshow button at the top of your window right now. You have home, insert, draw, design, translation, animation, and slideshow.
See slide control.
Where's your mouse right now? If you move your mouse up on the screen,
And go
yeah,
to
to this slideshow by the tabs you have on the page. Like where your where's your mouse pointer again? Now you've moved it all the way to the corner. If you bring it to your presentation, you see you have home highlighted.
I don't think we're seeing the same thing. Let me,
Okay.
Go
Yeah.
to the middle of the screen, it said slideshow. Instead of being on the home button.
Right.
for some reason, it's not allowing me.
Do you mind telling us where you, because when you are reading, it looks like you have another screen which is showing you the slides, but we can only see the page one of your presentation or your main PowerPoint application. And if you hit, yeah, so now you're here, yeah, you have your mouse here. If you go up to slideshow on this page, then you move your
I'm gonna
mouse.
have to, nope. Not allowing me For some reason, it's not allowing me to open. Let me see, bear with me 1 second. Is it showing now?
No, we don't see it. Now you can do it the way you did it previously. You can also just select a slide and keep going down each slide for us. I think that will be fine too.
Are you seeing now?
Not yet.
We may have to do it without it if it's not working. I don't want to spend too much time taking up your time.
Okay, yeah, I think you can do it this way. We see the slides. You on slide 2 right now, so you can just keep going down while
The
yeah.
full screen now?
Yeah, we can manage this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll work.
On the slideshow now.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
You might have to hit the pause, but it's showing.
You seeing it full screen? Everybody see everything? But then
Yep.
they do rank fraud and identity theft. As I said, you can go to the Federal Trade Commission and see their Consumer Sentinel Network data book, and it'll rank by states as well for fraud and identity theft. You can see Florida falls #1 for fraud. Georgia, Delaware, Nevada, Maryland, Texas, South Carolina, New Jersey, Louisiana, and Illinois round up the top 10. Not only do we fall #1 for fraud, but also for identity theft as well. It occurs when someone's personal or financial information is stolen and used without their knowledge to commit fraud and other types of crime. We have to be careful what information we're sharing online and social media, because scammers often take this information to personalize or customize attacks when they're doing scams or committing fraud, oftentimes referred to as spear phishing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So these are typically the ways that scams are going to be perpetrated: through phone, text message, in-person, door-to-door solicitation, emails, and then regular mail. Anytime you're getting unsolicited communication, it's always advised never to respond to it. If it says if it says scam likely, scam risk, unknown, a variation of letters and numbers, anything that's not in your contact, it's advised not to respond to the message. Scammers can also do what's called spoofing. Now with technology, they're very advanced, they're getting more customized, and these scams are becoming more believable. So they can do what's called spoofing, where they can change caller ID. Again, I advise consumers that if they're not in your contact, you don't know who's calling, let it go to voicemail. You can always review the message and determine whether to call back or not. Again, with technology, the scams are getting more advanced, more believable. So oftentimes you may have a difficult time determining whether it really was their bank calling, the IRS, or whoever they're perpetrating. And we just recommend that you go to a source that you have, whether that's your bank statement, going online, going into the bank, or whatever company it is, calling them directly by contact information you have. Keep in mind that the communication is a scam, then everything they provide you is going to be fraudulent. The email link, the telephone number. So it's best not to respond to those communications. They're also calling thousands of people at one time by what's called robocalling, or even text messages now. So oftentimes, consumers may answer a call and say, well, nobody was there right away, or it took a few seconds. They have more calls that they're dialing than they have actual people to answer the call. So it does take a few seconds to connect. But again, if you're not responding to these communications, it's not in your contact, you don't answer, then less chances of falling victim to the scams. Artificial intelligence is another concern. Scammers are impersonating family and friends using artificial intelligence, or what's referred to as AI technology, to customize them. They can take recordings, just like my voice tonight. If you have the technology to manipulate the text, then they perpetrate scams. One of the common ones we see is what's referred to as the grandparent scam, where they claim to be your grandchild, or we even see with a family member or friend, and they're in some kind of danger. They've been arrested, they've been in an accident, and they need you to send money right away. Scammers like to play on our emotions. So the fear that a loved one, a friend has had some kind of emergency or is in danger, that your account has been compromised, or that funds will be cut off if you don't take a specific action. Romance scam is another big one that we see. They're playing on love. They profess their love quickly, and shortly after, they're asking for money for various reasons. And then also sweepstakes or lotteries. You've won, the excitement of having those millions of dollars now in your future. I won't say always, but oftentimes there's an urgency with these scams. They want you to respond quickly so you don't have time to think about it. They pressure you into, you need to take this action immediately so this action won't occur. So there's that pressure. It doesn't give you time to stop and think about it. And the reason I say that not always is because we're also seeing text messages, which are very friendly, but they do pique your curiosity. These are two examples. The one on the left-hand side says, we haven't talked in a while. How have you been lately? And then the person responds, who is this? This is Anne. Who is this? Anne who? This is Robert. Oh, Robert, are you still living in London? No, still in Detroit. Always have been. And so again, a friendly conversation, and it starts to pull information out of Robert. His name's Robert. He lives in Detroit. I'm sure the conversation will continue on. You think it's harmless, but the scammers are using this information to maybe later perpetrate a different scam, or to use it against them as far as what information they can get out of them. The other text message there is, do you mind if I say something? That was actually a text message that I received. Again, it piques your curiosity. Who is this? Or wanting to respond to it. But I know better, so I just hit report junk. But again, they're just friendly, harmless, what appears to be harmless messages, as opposed to that urgency, that fear that you typically see. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you received an unsolicited message and you think it may be your bank, the utility company, law enforcement, whoever they're claiming to be, just verify it with the legitimate contact information that you have, whether it's phone number or going to your account. Also, don't click on any links in the messages or return any of the phone numbers. And then also, if it tells you to press a number, press this number for a live operator, press this number to get off our do not call list. Don't press any numbers. Again, it's all part of the scam. It's recommended that you have a code word with your family or close circle of friends. So if there is some type of call, you can always request, what is the code word? The scammer's not going to know it. And oftentimes we've heard people that have had the code words that the scammer just hangs up. Again, it's not recommended to answer any of these solicitations if it's unknown to you. We warn consumers about, we say if it's too good to be true, it probably is. It's the same from years ago, and it still applies to this day. But often things that are being offered for free, government grants, free money. We see a lot of the free trials, 7-day, 14-day trials. I always advise consumers not to get involved in them. That introductory rate, a very low amount of money, it doesn't last. And once they start shipping the products, then you're hit monthly with hundreds of dollars. It's often very difficult to get out of. And then also, if you're applying anything to your skin, you're ingesting anything, it's definitely recommended to consult with a doctor before you participate or accept any of these products. So it's very important to remember that. How scammers request payment is another red flag that it's a scam. Scammers want their money quickly. Oftentimes they're asking for gift cards. No legitimate agency or organization is accepting gift cards as a form of payment. We always say gift cards are meant for gifts. Cash is another one. I grew up where we were told not to mail cash or send cash in the mail. Even if it was a birthday card with $20 in it, it was frowned upon. Now we're seeing victims that are sending thousands and thousands of dollars in boxes and just shipping it off to random addresses, individuals they've never met in person. We've heard stories of victims being told to put cash between the pages of magazines and mail them off so it won't be detected. Wiring money is another, if you don't know who you're sending it to, once it's sent, it's same as cash, it's gone. Cryptocurrency is another form of payment that scammers are often asking. Most of, if not all, the victims that I've spoken to have no knowledge of cryptocurrency. They've never dealt with it. And scammers are staying on the phone and walking them step by step how to get to a cryptocurrency machine, how to deposit the money. And again, it's gone once they've done so. Peer-to-peer payment, legitimate form of payment. But keep in mind, you send it to the wrong person, you send it to a scammer, again, the money's gone. I always recommend if you're doing peer-to-peer, you've never sent money to that person, but it's somebody you know of, and it's a legitimate payment, send them a test amount, $5, $10, and then send the rest of the money. Because if you send it to the wrong number, it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to get back. We have to keep in mind a lot of our information is public record. You could do simple internet searches and find out a lot of information about people, information that we share on social media. Myself, I don't have any social media accounts, but keep in mind my friends and family do, and they might think a picture's cute or some information they want to share about me. So I have that understanding. I've communicated with them that there's nothing to post about me. There's no pictures, no information. So even if you're not sharing information, talk to your friends and family about what information they're sharing, not only themselves, but about you. Younger adults, we find, love to air all their information out on social media. So that's a good conversation to have with them as far as, you know, in the future, who's looking at it? Is it employers? Is it colleges? Is it scammers? They often say, younger adults, oh, I have 4,000 friends on Facebook. And I always tell them, you can't have that many friends unless you're buying gifts for all of them on their birthday or for holidays. They're not technically friends. Data breaches, when big companies, their data have been compromised. Sometimes no fault of our own, our information is compromised in that way. And then once the information is compromised, scammers are buying and selling that information online. So again, if you receive communication, again, unsolicited, and they have the information about you, it doesn't make it legitimate. So we do need to question things. There's several different scams out there. I often get the question, what's the latest or newest scam? There really are no new scams. They advance them, they tweak them depending on technology, whatever's going on. The grandparent scam that may have started with a grandchild, now it's your actual child. So they do different variations, but there's a lot of different scams. And I'll just go over a few of these that we see most frequent. They have their own terminology, scammers, phishing. They're always looking for the big fish, and unfortunately that's us. They throw out their lines or their net to see who they can catch. So phishing email is your general email that you would receive, usually with that urgency that you need to update your account, provide your information, or your funds will be frozen, your account be closed. So consumers would enter in their information, send it off, and then later find out they fell victim to identity theft. Farming was another variation of it, where it would be the same email, same urgency, but typically they would farm you out or send you through a different link to their so-called secure website. Just one additional step for the scammers and still victims of identity theft. And then spear phishing, as I mentioned earlier, they're getting specific information about individuals so that they can customize it or personalize it to make it more believable. Through the Federal Trade Commission, they determine their stats that 1 in 5 people will lose money to imposter scams. These are the scams where they're pretending to be a friend or family member, somebody of authority, whether that's law enforcement, IRS, your bank, a service provider, utility company, anything where we tend to believe in them or trust in it and make it more vulnerable to divulge our information. Mentioned the grandparent scam. Typically, there's some kind of urgency. The grandchild has been arrested or been in an accident. They need money immediately. Again, there's that urgency, and they tell you not to talk to anybody or tell anybody about what's going on. So those are two big red flags right there in that scam that something's not right. We always encourage people, again, verify the whereabouts, even if you're instructed not to. Verify the whereabouts of your family or your friend to make sure that they're okay. If I can get technology to work, I'll show you a video of a lady. Unfortunately, she fell victim to this scam. She lives in Hillsborough County, Tampa, Florida. Computer repair. A lot of victims, their information is being compromised. And one way is that scammers are gaining remote access into individuals' computers. One of the scams is detecting, they get an unsolicited message, usually by phone, detecting that there's something wrong with their computer. They allow them remote access. And at that point, the scammer has access to everything in your computer, whether they take your photos and hold them ransom, or they put in malware or virus to capture keystrokes, PIN numbers, passwords later on. So it's very dangerous. And then on top of it, to add more insult, is they may ask for payment for the so-called repair to the computer. I've had victims tell me once they asked for payment, I knew it was a scam, but I tell them, rewind, think about, you've already allowed them access to your computer. So that, to me, is more dangerous than them collecting payment or attempting to. As I mentioned earlier, the romance scam, the victims that I meet, I had one lady that she was very close with her sister. They had a falling out. That was who she confided in, talked to, got information and guidance from. And when they had the falling out, she turned to somebody online to fill that void. And usually that's what it is. They're looking for somebody to fill that void. Another one of my victims had lost her husband, and that's who she traveled with. So she met somebody online who shared in that passion and wanted to hear about her adventures and her stories. And like I said, they quickly build that rapport with the victim. And then shortly after, asking for payment for whatever reason. There could be a missionary work, they're going to travel, whatever reason they need money for. Once you fall for a scam, you're going to be targeted multiple times by various scammers. And then once you make payment, no matter what amount they set, it'll never be that amount. They're always asking for more and more until there's no more money to be paid. One that we're seeing more frequently is unpaid tolls. You may have all gotten this message. They have here 5 different things that they're going to do to you if you don't make payment, from suspending your vehicle registration, your driving privileges, prosecution. Again, just dissecting the scams. It's very intimidating, maybe frightening, especially for older adults. And I just tell them, when's the last time you went through a toll? Well, I don't drive. Well, there you go. You automatically know it's a scam. Well, I haven't been through a toll. Well, there you go. You know it's a scam. And then also how they're communicating. You have to think of the method. When you actually go through a toll, you're going to get a letter in the mail. It's going to have a picture of your tag number. It's going to tell you the date, the time, the location. It's not going to come from the DMV. And so these are just things to keep in mind. And then just in your daily lives, the utility company locally will text me to say that your bill's coming due. And then when they receive payment, they'll text me and say, thank you for your payment. They're the only provider that sends me a text message. So if I get a text message that's from my bank and it happens to be the institution that I deal with, I'll know that it's a scam, because that's not how my normal communication with that entity. So again, just remembering these little things can help save you from falling victim. We're seeing scams especially with rental scams. And then there's puppy scams around the holidays. We'll see an increase in that. people wanting to purchase puppies for the holidays. What they're doing, the scammers, is they're stealing these images offline. We have an investigator in our department. He surfs Craigslist and Marketplace for what appears to be fraudulent ads, especially for rentals. You'll often see these images in multiple locations, but with the rental properties, we're seeing that they're marketed for sale and for rent. So it can't be both. He'll try to locate the actual owner of the property to verify that it's a fraudulent ad. We're seeing the listed rental amount is way below marketplace. And we've seen where they may say they have 4-bedroom, 3-bath house right on the beach, but there's mountains in the background. And when you're searching them, you're finding these properties are out of state, but they're claiming to be right here locally in Florida, right on our beaches. So again, the scammers aren't always perfect. They're quick to put these ads up and hoping people will not pay attention or closely look at them. Around the holidays, we'll also see an increase in shipping scams or shipping notifications that your package can't be delivered, can't be sent, can't be received. It's very confusing during the holidays because you may have a lot of things that you're ordering online or that you're shipping. And again, just taking time to look at it and make sure that you can actually go to the accounts where you purchased items and had them shipped. The other one is we sometimes individuals have their computers freeze up. They can't get out of it. It's usually asking for an amount. This is an old advertisement because I think with inflation, $200 is too cheap right now. It'll probably be a lot more. Here they give you 72 hours to pay, otherwise you'll be arrested. That's nice that they give you 3 days to let you know that you'll be arrested, give you time to pack some things. And they're asking for a gift card as a payment. So we just advise consumers, just hold the power button on your laptop or on your tower. It'll shut down your computer and then you can reboot and start again. Do not call any numbers. Don't respond to any links in it as far as clicking on them. But it is very intimidating when they get this message. Some resources. The Internet Crime Complaint Center, if you have online complaints, fraudulent ads, you can send that to them. That is monitored by the FBI. Locally, we have my department, Pinellas County Consumer Protection, and then the Federal Trade Commission is a wealth of resources and information. And also you can file complaints, and that's where we're getting these stats from. If you will humor me, let me see if I can pull up my video, because I would like to show you an actual victim who fell for the grandparent scam. So bear with me 1 second. You guys have been very patient with my technology skills here. Any questions while I'm pulling this up?
No, I just you hit on the text message. I can't tell you how many times I have a 419, it's Northwest Ohio based phone number. I can't tell you how many times that they were going to come after me because I had not paid the Ohio tolls.
And scammers also will take your area code no matter where you're at, and sometimes the first 3 digits of your phone number, because it looks familiar. We tend to want to answer it. So they have all different types of tricks to get us to respond to these messages. I apologize for the delay. Bear with me 1 second. Have any of you had any other scams that you've dealt with, or family or friends?
I've had Facebook ones, like befriending somebody that might know, 1 or 2 of my friends, and I'm like, that's gotta be a scam. I think probably one of them on Facebook is when the scammers try to hack into somebody else's or your account.
Exactly.
There are some LinkedIn ones too this time around where you have people posing as recruiters, and sometimes they may send you a text, ask you your profile matches a job, and if you're interested, they'll send you the job description, and some of those files are just infectious to your system when you go opening them.
And that's the thing, allowing them access to your computer, not keeping it updated, not having the right protection on your computer leaves you that much vulnerable. Oftentimes I get the question is, how many of the scammers are they catching or making arrests? And there's thousands and thousands of scammers. This is their all-day job, doing it every day. They've perfected their skills. With technology now, they can make it that much more believable. So again, it's like any scam or crime you see on the news all the time. They say, lock your car doors, lock your garage doors. Those are all tips to secure yourself. Scammers are looking for that easy access. So again, with that layer of protection, not answering these unsolicited messages, it's going to give you that much more protection as opposed to somebody who is responding or doesn't have the protection, and allowing them that easy access. All right, let's see if we can get this one going. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't hear the audio though. Are we supposed to hear it?
And just so you know, there's no audio.
I'm sorry, what's that?
We don't hear any audio.
Okay, well then. I'm sorry, I apologize. Technology is not on my side tonight. Let me stop there. So this was a video of a woman in Hillsborough County. She lives in Dover. And fortunately, victims are feeling more comfortable in sharing their stories. But this particular woman, she paid $15,000 to a scammer. And she says that nobody can convince her that it wasn't her daughter's voice. What was her daughter's voice? They had taken a recording or a clip from social media. They assumed that they had been searching their social media pages for that information. And like I said, she paid $15,000. She got a call, and the basis of the scam was that her daughter was texting and driving, was in a car accident. The other driver was a pregnant woman and was seriously injured. So she got a call from the prosecutor or the public defender. Again, this is not how it works if you're in a car accident. And they asked for $15,000. They were going to send a legal courier to come pick up the money. Again, no such thing. And she took the money and paid them. She says as soon as she saw them pull away, she was sick to her stomach. They called back, letting her know that the pregnant woman's child did not survive the accident. But the family supposedly is a Christian family, and they will not sue her if she pays $30,000. At that point, her nephew intervened, thank goodness, because she was getting ready to pay the additional money, and said, let's call your daughter, let's verify her safety. And they did, and she was perfectly fine. She was at work. So there was no urgency, and she was out the $15,000. This particular lady, her and her husband had just recently retired, and she said that was her retirement money. So they did start a GoFundMe page to try to recoup that money. But again, that's just one of many stories. And unfortunately, she wasn't the only victim to receive that call. She was just the only one to come forward to do an interview. There was a gentleman in another adjoining county near here, fell for the romance scam. Again, with AI technology, typically you don't video chat, you never meet them in person, but they were able to do video image with him, and he believed he was talking to someone. She was relocating to another country, found a job, but needed $9,000 to file for the paperwork. She didn't realize it was going to be that expensive. He was already in full-hearted, so he sent the money, and she continued to ask for more and more money. It was later traced that the IP address was from another country. It wasn't a woman. They had just taken an image offline. We even had here locally our sheriff's department with romance scam. There's a deputy, and again, he's done an interview on it, that he was former military, he's law enforcement, he likes to work out. He also likes to put all his information on social media. Scammers found him attractive enough to steal his image and used it for the romance scam. So instead of him being the victim, you know, these women, he said for the last 8 years, he's been getting messages from women. He's gotten calls at work. He's gotten calls to his home saying, you know, you scammed me. You've been talking to my daughter. You took money from me. And he has to put out a disclaimer as his regular routine that it's not him. They're just using his image. So again, scams can have multiple victims. We had one lady that was involved in a romance scam. And again, a very elaborate story. The scammer was out of the country. He had been arrested. He needed her to move money for her, but yet he's incarcerated in another country, but yet he's able to email and call her every single day. And it wasn't, she said, and she had already sent thousands and thousands of dollars. And it wasn't until she received a package with another lady's name and address, and she reached out to that person to find out that she was another victim in this whole scam. So luckily she saw the light. Most of our victims do not, and it gets to a point where they've run out of money or they're still believing it. One lady who's local, you know, I check in with her every now and then, and she keeps in touch with the scammer. She still has hope that he will pay her back the money that, and of course he knows, you know, Valentine's Day, reach out and say, I miss you, I'm thinking about you, just to keep those emotions and keep her hooked into the scam. So it's very sad. The gentleman who was involved in the romance scam with the AI video chatting, he's now looking at possibly losing his home because he had sent so much money. So these scams destroy people's lives, and we try to do whatever we can to educate consumers so that it keeps them or saves a friend or family member. So it's very important to communicate with your friends and family about what's going on, you know, listen to them, share information, because once we find that they're deep into the scam, they've sent tons of money, it's very hard to undo or convince them otherwise that it is a scam. Well, thank you guys for your time. I apologize for the technical difficulties. I really wanted you to see that video. I don't know why the audio wasn't working. It's operator area, I know that.
But we do appreciate you coming on, Anna Maria. I mean, I think so many people are touched by scams, and you hope that you don't fall for one, but they're getting more devious, should I say, more abundant. And as technology changes and evolves, I'm sure so are the scams going to.
Yeah, technology plays a big part into it as far as making it more convincing, more believable. You know, scammers realize that if they do a little research, spend some additional time setting up a web page or learning our behaviors, our patterns, that they're able to make it more convincing. And again, it can be very difficult to tell, you know, real from the fake. But oftentimes, if you dissect that scam, you can see that what they're asking or what they're saying doesn't make sense. And of course, if you're playing that urgency or those emotions into it, that kind of clouds judgment as well.
Where does it fall in the scam category when it's actually a relative? And
What do you mean?
well,
That's scamming you?
yeah, like the relatives are really asking for the money, but then nothing happened, or they, you know, they are related to you somehow. Are those reported a lot, or is that kind of like if it's reported and they're related, then it just goes into a different category?
If I'm understanding the question correctly, as far as a relative being the scammer and taking advantage of you?
Yeah, sometimes you hear about that, like, you know, say the kid's on drugs, or they're trying to make a romance work and they're out of town, and they actually, you know, try to get the extra money just to, and I heard about this in Costa Rica. There was family members and they just kept going around and robbing with the relatives so they could stay living in Costa Rica. Is that still in the scam category, or does it change if you know the person, if you actually know the person that's associated with it?
No, I mean, it still is. But what we find is oftentimes, especially with maybe adult children, like you're saying, there might be drugs or some other issue involved that the family's not as willing to report it. You know, we can get them help or they took advantage or so I don't think they oftentimes if you're familiar with the victim, they would you know, put as much attention to it or report it as easily as a stranger.
Mm.
And then it makes it more challenging with the scams reporting it, because if it is a stranger, you often don't know who it is. You know, everything's fraudulent about it. So by the time they're tracing or locating, and when I say they, I mean law enforcement, it's often out of the country and money's long gone. And so it's hard to determine who exactly it was. But like I said, if it's somebody you know, you're familiar with, we don't often see families reporting that as much. I guess they give it a little more leeway than they would as a stranger.
Just to clarify, I'm a boat captain, so sometimes I hear these stories from the other boat captains, you know, and it's amazing, you know, how many different types of scams there are. So appreciate you putting it all down. I took notes. I didn't know there was a thing called spearfishing. So that was kind of cool. And then the idea to use a code word whenever we're talking to our kids, I think that's a great idea. Just in case, you know, our daughter just went off to college and, you know, she calls us, now we know to get a code word before we send her money.
And even if she's legitimate, she still wants money. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
I
But
mean,
if
she's
she
at
forgets the
college,
code
so
word.
no, but again, that could be something very, you know, realistic as far as, you know, she's away. You don't know if she's safe or not. And then all of a sudden you get this call. It may be more believable. Um, so again, limiting what information's out there, who's seeing what information, especially on social media, and then having those code words, and verifying, you know, like I said, the scammer wants to keep you isolated, whether it's in a romantic relationship or just in urgency, because their goal is to get that money or that personal information. So by keeping you isolated, making things quickly, and you're not having that time to think about it or talk to somebody about it. So definitely take those few minutes to, you know, consider what's going on and what was the contact, you know, as far as being unsolicited.
Mhm. Cool, thank you. I really appreciated presentation.
Thank you. Oh.
Any other questions or comments? Right. Well, it was a small turnout. Like I said, many of our members are traveling or unfortunately had conflicts this evening. But like I said previously, this is being recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel, and I'll put it on our next bulletin. So our club members can view everything. I've also recorded well, in the recording, but also took a still picture of contact information. So I'll put it out there for our club members. So again, thank you.
You're welcome. And again, if there's any questions or concerns, feel free to have them give me a call. Be happy to talk to them.
And can you connect another question? Now, I live in Hernando County. My father is up in Northwest Ohio. There's Paul's a lot of times on ship. If we were to contact you, or if any of our club members were to contact you, do you have a way that we could contact, or they could contact the right people in other counties, in other states?
Sure. So definitely we can try to locate those resources for you. Unfortunately, and just speaking in Florida, there's only about 7 consumer protection agencies. So, for example, I don't believe Hernando has one, Pasco doesn't have one. So again, there may be something else that you would have to do if that was the case where you're needing assistance through a consumer protection agency. But I always tell people, give me a call. Let's talk about the situation. Because there may be other issues. Maybe you need to take steps as far as protecting your identity, depending on what information's been given or compromised. So just discussing, maybe it's an issue of home solicitation. Most people say, oh yeah, you just came and knocked on my door. Well, there might be some recourse there, or maybe even criminal activity. So again, I always recommend, even if you're not in our county, you can give us a call, we can discuss it and see what resources are available or what exactly happened as far as trying to recover, recoup from it.
Great, appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, thank you all again. I appreciate your time. Hope you have a good evening and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, awesome. I wonder if they ever get any recovery, if they ever get any of the money back.
That would have been a good question. It doesn't sound like much, if any.
Yeah, it sounds like these people, once it disappears,
It's gone.
it's gone in the abyss. And so that's interesting that you can call them and they can tell you what happened, but they really don't have the resources to get any of the funds back.
Yeah. I thought it was very interesting that not every county.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Wondering, Hernando, Pasco, she said, and it's possible citrus, and maybe that's something Bill Rafkis can get on top of.
There you go.
While he's doing all that other stuff, and then I'm sure Citrus County usually follows behind those other counties, so they probably don't have one. But what we do have is we have a group called Crime Stoppers.
Mhm.
And it's for local people that see crimes, and they can do an anonymous report. And I believe there's a $500 reward for the report if it leads to somebody getting convicted or property getting returned. So I was like, that's interesting. So recently, one of the churches had their tractor stolen, and it was recovered, and that was through the Crime Stopper program.
Okay.
So that was kind of interesting how somebody, it almost looked like an inside job, and like somebody knew the tractor was there at the church, and but it did get recovered, and it was safe, and it was incredible because I guess the intention was to get it down to the Port of Tampa and ship it out.
Yeah. It's always someone out there. Always someone out there.
So how about we hear a little bit from Godwin?
Well, thank you. Anything specific? I think my life is all been work, work, work. So I sit right here. I work from home, and I think the last time I mentioned I write code for a living. So most of the times I'm just behind my screens here and typing my head off. And when I'm tired and I want a difference, I have a personal desk in another room that I used to do other stuff. So that's why I was trying to join the call from initially when I had issue and I had to come back to my office desk to join the call.
You
And
can't escape.
right. And I think I mentioned already I'm in Jacksonville with my wife and two kids. The house is quiet right now because everybody's out. So my 10-year-old daughter does competitive gymnastics. So she's in the gym 4 hours after work. And my 7-year-old son does karate on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So most of the time, Tuesdays and Thursdays, nobody's home till like 8 p.m. when they get back. So yeah,
Nice
and
and quiet.
Awesome. It is great. That is great. Well, have you met Andrew yet?
No, he wasn't on the call the last time we had a Zoom call. And another thing that takes me out of the house is this is a college season, so I referee college soccer as that's one of my getaways from work. So I'm mostly on the road around this time of the year, like refereeing college soccer.
That's good. It's always good to get out of the house. So you said your son is karate. What kind? What is he? Yeah, what type?
He's doing a Tang Sudo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well. All
Hi,
right.
Andrew. Nice to meet you.
Nope.
Andrew?
Nice, hold on. I'm having trouble here. Nice to meet you too.
So now you guys know each other.
Yeah,
You can work together.
even though probably a
can
little
work
far
together.
away, but great meeting you.
Opposite ends of the state.
Yeah,
What about the birthday boy? Does he know how to unmute? What do you say, Richard?
Uh,
There we
Hey,
go.
all right.
All right, there. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I while I was up there, I renamed his screen so there's no longer two of me.
okay.
That when I'm up visiting family, and we have a club meeting, I'm usually on his computer. So anyway.
Yeah.
Did she leave?
Now that the cop is gone, I can tell you that you can actually set it up so you can remote into his computer to help him with the buttons.
All the help I can get.
It's crazy how they can use LogMeIn, or there's a couple different programs, but you can actually move the cursor around on the screen and click buttons. So on the ships, that's how they update the software.
Even Zoom can do that. You can, as a host of a Zoom call, like depending on your license, and I can request control of your screen. And if you approve it, I can then move your mouse and click around your screen.
See, we got the helper right there.
Yeah.
All right, we got anything
Yeah.
else to report besides birthdays, anniversaries? And what'd you say? Something about the Paul Harris Award?
Yes.
You,
Yes.
I have a certificate. And I have,
another certificate.
it's on the wall. Matter of
All
fact,
right,
Alicia, a picture tonight of it framed and on the wall. Very, very nice.
awesome. I hope to
Congratulations.
get one soon.
Mr. President, are you still on the Hudson?
No, but they did call me back earlier today to go back to connect the cables between Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts.
Wow.
The same company, but that whole deal got stalled because when we were in the Hudson, something happened with the cable and it kind of went sideways. So just to be careful, they went ahead and put a repair loop in it. And I sat underneath the bridge for 3 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we got to watch a police raid underneath the bridge where they were having a concert. And it was classic New York, just skyscrapers and buildings all on both sides of us. And we laid 6 miles of cable from the beginning of the Harlem to the Hudson River. And it was quite the adventure, and we managed to do it without hitting none of the bridges. There was 13 bridges. And we
Where are
didn't
you
hit.
now?
Right now, I'm in Florida. I'm at my house.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll be going back up at the end of October for kind of finishing up the 3 or 4 years I've been working on the wind farms up there.
Is the boat up there, or do you bring it back to Florida? The
No,
ship.
all the equipment's up there, and I just
Okay.
fly up there and meet the
Okay.
boat.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it's really good.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, we are, pretty much, it's 8:07. We can go ahead and finish up the meeting with the 4-way test. And then whoever wants to, we'll take a couple minute break, and then whoever wants to stay on. We only have a few of our board members, like 3, but the board meetings are always open to all the club members also. So you're welcome to stay on if you'd like. So we want to go ahead and do the 4-way test for
Yeah.
attendance.
Let's do it. 4-way test of all the things we think, say, and do.
Is
One, is it
Is
the
it the
truth?
truth?
2, is it fair to
Fair to
all
all
concerned?
concerned.
3, will it build
Build
goodwill
goodwill
and
and
better
better
friendship?
friendships.
And that's with a S.
Right.
And 4, will it be beneficial
Beneficial
to
to
all
all
concerned?
And Elise just says, is it fun?
Yeah.
I have to include that one.
One thing real quick too, I would, if you have not, I would strongly recommend, and I know we have several members that are in different districts, but Rotary Leadership Institute. It is online also. You could get online actually through our district. If you go on the DAC-DB and go on the district calendar, you can see several sessions that are offered online. If you choose to take one or do it in person, it's the Sunshine Division. So anywhere the Sunshine Division has classes, please let me know. The procedure is you go ahead and pay for it, send me the receipt, and I reimburse you. We have a line item budget for RLI. It's approximately, I believe, $300. I'm a discussion leader, so anytime I go now, it's free. So that moves the money to other club members, and it is highly recommended. I took the first RLI 1 before I became club president, and it's beneficial. Highly recommended. So let me know, and we can go from there.
Elise,
So
do you have,
that'll be this weekend.
I
do you
did
have
I did notice they have some of the online classes broke down into 3 sessions instead of
Yeah.
having to do it all at once.
Yeah, it's
That's
not.
very helpful for our younger audience.
Yeah, it's not all day. It's online. It's like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And so sessions, usually all day sessions, I believe, are $100 now. A session, and that's in person. But the cost is broken down if you do it online.
I think there's one this weekend.
Online, there's several online. There's more.
I want to say in Hernando.
There's one in Pasco.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll be at that one. I'm a discussion leader, so I'll be discussing.
Discussing the
I'll be
discussion.
discussing, yes.
At least I was
I think I
good.
got email notifications on one, which is in person. I didn't know there's online, so I think I'll look out for the online one. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
if you get on the DAC on the calendar, and you can sign up through the calendar. And
Okay.
like I said, just let me know if you go ahead and do one. Send me the receipt and I will reimburse.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, sure.
Alicia, do you have a spreadsheet? I've gone through 1, 2, 3 in discussion leader. It's been a couple years since I've been a discussion leader, but so do you have that on a spreadsheet somewhere that we've done everything?
That should be on
Okay.
your profile on the DAC that
Okay.
what you've done.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go check.
Yeah. So, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and if I can't answer them, I can direct you to the person who can.
Who is the chair now of Sunshine Division? Do you know it? I think they talked at one of our meetings, right? Last year or so. We had somebody.
Well,
Changes every couple of years.
it's Jamie right now, right? Yeah,
In our district.
yeah, and it
Okay.
was in our district, it's PDG Jamie Mick.
Okay. Got it.
So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.